Hi there! Welcome to Becoming the Self-Led Woman podcast. My name is Monica, and this is a weekly podcast for modern women in which we will explore different topics such as self-leadership, personal growth, financial empowerment, feminine wisdom, all sorts of things that help us understand how can we navigate nowadays as a modern woman. You can think of it as a coffee chat that you can have with an older sister. So here I am as your older sister that I am sharing honest, supportive, practical insights that can help you create the life that feels more aligned, more empowered, and really more heart-led and authentic. There is something that many people really want to develop. Whether you are building your career or you're starting your business, you want to network or you want to make friends or have successful dating, have successful relationships, or even successful life in general. Having this one thing can really be helpful, and many people want to develop this. And what is this? It is magnetism. And we often have so many resources like books, podcasts, videos, even digital courses, coaching programs that helps people to develop magnetism. However, what exactly is this magnetism thing? Is this some kind of magical thing? Is this something that only talented people naturally have? So, in the past years, as I've been diving deeply into personal development, spirituality, and really reading a lot, learning a lot to improve my own life. This has been something that has been really fascinating me, especially when I see those eloquent speakers, those leaders, those people that really have this charisma. Whenever I look at them, I would be like, wow, this person is really drawing my attention and I cannot look away. But what exactly is their secret? What is it that in them that it's so easily drawing our attention and captivating us? And I've read a lot of books, listened to a lot of podcasts. I've even been in a Toastmasters club for a while to learn about public speaking. And it was exactly during that journey that actually started in parallel when I started my awareness facilitator school training, where I learned about modern therapeutic practices, shamanism, that I actually realized the key to magnetism is very simple. And yet, it is not so easy to actually develop it. Because to develop it, to bring more of it out in the world, it actually requires a big, long journey for many of us, myself included. So, what is it, you might ask? And it is authenticity. And it is really so simple. And I can tell you that when I joined that Toastmasters Club a few years ago, the first speech I actually gave, I was so monotone, I was so boring that there was nothing captivating in me at all. However, when I began to do my next speeches, something really changed. And it wasn't about the technicalities like, oh, what about your vocal variety, your body language, etc., etc. While these technicalities can help you to become a better speaker, actually, the moment that you are able to tap into your authenticity, that really changes. And when I was in the Toastmasters Club, I learned about the technicalities, but it was the moment that I started to not be afraid anymore to talk about the topics that I really am passionate about. Then I started to become really more and more magnetic. And I can tell you that throughout the first year, people would tell me, like, oh, Monica, you seem to have improved a lot. Congratulations. And I wasn't really focused on improving my vocal variety, the other technicalities. Because the moment I was able to embrace my own authenticity and not be afraid of being more of myself when I spoke about the topics that I was really passionate about, then my vocal variety automatically followed. My body language already automatically is more alive. And I give you an example. I used to be so weird about my interest in meditation, in spirituality, in personal development, because I was often wondering, oh, what if other people might think that these kind of things are weird, that I am weird, etc. And I was worried that people might judge me based on my interests. However, the moment I was able to, you know what? This is what I want to talk about. This is what I really am passionate about. Then I brought really this aliveness that is within me. And let me tell you a little secret. When I was in the 2 years course on therapeutic practices, on diving deeper really to the human psychology, etc., one of the things that I learned was that why is it that sometimes when we hear some people speak, our minds would eventually tune out and we would lose focus? It is because we actually couldn't feel connected to the people that are talking. And why is it that we cannot connect? It is because they are in their minds when they are speaking, which meant that they are actually speaking plainly without actually being alive when they are speaking. So notice that when people speak, they can make you feel something or make you really kind of bored and checked out. And this is very subconscious. So if we don't pay attention, sometimes we actually check out. But there are people that can elicit emotions within us because deep down, when they are speaking, they are feeling these emotions. So, for example, when someone is telling a story, what is so compelling about the story is because it is making you feel something. And it can make you feel something because they are feeling something and that makes them alive. And it often has to be from a place of authenticity because if they are afraid or if they hesitate to really feel into what they are speaking. So, for example, imagine there is a person that is speaking about business and they are giving a presentation with charts and etc. And that is actually boring. And the person doesn't even want to be there. The way they speak about it can be very monotone, can be very bland, can be very boring because they are bored themselves. But when we hear a speaker that is really passionate and really into what they are talking about, then you can really feel it. So there isn't really this big, crazy secret, this magical secret, or actually about talent. Well, of course, some people can be more talented or more natural at speaking or connecting with people. But really, the magnetism that we often feel from other people as we see them often comes from a place of authenticity. Because when we are authentic, we just come alive with all the real emotions that we are feeling. And when those emotions emanate from us, from our bodies, it will be noticeable in our body language, in our vocal variety. And you might notice that if you record yourself while you're talking with a friend or your partner about something that is really exciting, I don't know, the next episode of the series that you watch together, you will naturally have this vocal variety going on. But if you, let's say that you have to do a boring presentation at work that you're not even passionate about, oof, that would be really, really monotone for many people unless you're skilled in presentations. But you might say, okay, Monica, if this is just authenticity, then why is it that so hard to master, really? Becoming more magnetic. And it is often because authenticity is one of the hardest things for many people to master. Because how many of us are actually afraid to be truly, fully seen, to talk about the things that we really, really love without worrying about judgment? How many of us have been conditioned to, oh, behave properly, I should behave this way, I should present myself that way. Oh, if I am in a professional environment, I need to behave, I need to contain myself. So imagine if each of us, we are an ocean, really, but we are conditioned to contain this ocean in a swimming pool, then those who can break free from the swimming pool looks much more magnetic, right? Like the all majestic ocean waves and etc. so free versus the bland swimming pool that can be very boring and very bland. And I can tell you that subconsciously, when we are not able to be fully authentic, and when we are feeling that, oh, I need to contain myself when I am networking, for example, I need to present myself in a certain way, people can actually feel our guardedness. And we can also feel other people's guardedness subconsciously. So that's why when people start to have conversations, sometimes we or the other person might check out, or they might suddenly start to look away or not pay as much attention. It is exactly because there is no real connection within the interaction. And when there's no real resonance, then people really they are checked out. So, you see, you can learn all the tricks and tips about, oh, how can I be more attractive? How can I do better presentations? Take a million of courses, read a million of books. But when you are hiding your authentic self, you are already creating a fortress that makes your aliveness more contained. And because your aliveness is more contained, then your real magnetism cannot really come out because people cannot really feel what they need to feel in order to feel this connection and resonance with you. And I can tell you that the moment when I was in Toastmasters, I started to talk about the topics that I really love. I still paid attention to the technicalities such as vocal variety, body language, the clutch words, but my aliveness would naturally come up. And people can naturally feel more of what I'm feeling. All those juiciness, all that passion that I've been feeling when I was talking about the topics that I really love. And you don't really need to, of course, to, talk about the grandiose things that is like so inspirational, bring out the moments of your life that can, fit into some motivational speech. But when you are interacting with people, for example, you're in a networking event and you're meeting new people, the moment you can be more of yourself, even if you're talking about your cat or your kid or your dog or your hobbies, and you show them a photo of it, because they can feel your authentic happiness and your authentic excitement. That is already magnetic. And magnetism is also about connection. So when you have this back and forth, you show your authentic self, your excitement, your feelings, and the other person does the same. And then you resonate with each other. That is what draws people in. Because in this world where many people are conditioned to contain themselves, to hide behind a mask, people who can bring out authenticity of each other out, that is what many people actually desire. But it is often the hardest thing that people feel that they have a hard time doing simply because they are conditioned with all the insecurities, with all the fears, like, oh, maybe I would be judged if I show this part of myself. But the moment you can deconstruct all these limiting beliefs, all these limitations, all these insecurities and fears and hesitations, and the moment you can be more from your heart than your mind, that is what's magnetic. So, in this week, I'd like to invite you to grab a coffee, latte, or a tea, and really think about what is it that I really am passionate about or really excites me, really gets my heart going. But I might feel afraid to share it with my loved ones, with my acquaintances, with my coworkers, with my friends, because I might be afraid that they might think it's weird or that they might judge it, etc. And ask yourself then, what if I have the courage to share this? And actually, some of them might really be excited about it and even resonate with it. What if this happens? Then how will I feel? Because our brains are often worried about, oh, the worst thing that can happen if I do this or that. But we never really entertained the idea of what if the positive outcome might actually happen, then what would happen? How would I feel about it? But the moment we allow ourselves to explore a little bit of this and imagine how good it might be, we might slowly open our brain up to this possibility and then to even have a little bit more courage that maybe next time when we are networking with someone or even just a coffee on a Sunday afternoon with my loved ones, friends, etc., and open ourselves up to the possibilities of maybe sharing even if just a little bit of it and see how other people might receive it.